So in about 3 to 4 hours, well, 2 to 3 hours, I'm gonna I'm gonna get up and put everything in my bag so I can go to the DMV to get my well to um to pay to get my replacement license, which will result in me getting a paper license, and then they send the hard license, the actual license, um, in the mail days or a week later, or however long it takes. And then I'm going to um, set up an appointment as soon as possible to sell plasma or to donate plasma and then get money for it. Same difference, whatever. I'm gonna do that every 3 days, and I had a plan where I was gonna buy a sleeping bag and then just go to the library every day, and then at the end of the day when they close, get some sleep on the train, and then when they kick you off at 4 a.m., sleep a bit outside with a sleeping bag, and then sleep in the morning when they start up again until the library opens, and do that every day. And then use the library to use my laptop and continue making the game. I'm still gonna do that, but not the outside part. I'm gonna give my granny $200 um every month. So yeah, that's probably still gonna result in them asking me to get a job so I have more money to give them. It's understandable, but personally, that's not where my focus is. And I think this is partially because they're too focused on me not having money, meaning I'm not contributing, meaning I'm just taking up resources. To understand this part, but there are a lot of, I mean, a lot of what's pushed me to this far is that I learned more and more that games have been made by one person, and the games that I'm referring to, they're all like they're much more complex than what I'm making. But I mean, what I want this to become is more complex, but I can only do so much. If I would have taken this time to learn how to code, yeah, I would have known how to code, but I wouldn't have been as far in development as I am now. But ultimately, it's not that deep. Whether if it's an actual human sitting here and I'm walking them through what I actually want and they just type or they just code it for me, or I use AI to do that, it's the same result. But that's kind of besides the whole point. I know what I'm gonna do though. Um, yeah, and it'll be even better when well, yeah. But the point is that I'll put the game on itch.io, and then when I get enough money, I'll actually make a company for the whole thing, and then put it on uh Steam, so then I can put the publisher as my company, and then I think that's how that works. Yeah, I don't know what an actual I don't know. I mean, do you need? I don't think you don't need a publisher to put a game on Steam. No, you just need to pay the $100. You don't need a publisher per se. But yeah. But that way I can actually like hire people to help me. Like we can actually have like an official way of doing it or whatever. And it's smart to have like things in writing in an official manner that we can keep track of everything. What I've learned throughout the years. But fuck, what else was I gonna say? I forgot. I forgot what else. What else was I gonna fucking say, dude? Fuck. I don't know. Um, game plan, not the movie. I don't know. Oh, I didn't really eat much yesterday. I ate spaghetti when I got home. But that's because I got up at like 6 something. Or no, 5 something. And then we left at like 6 something to help, um, to help, this guy we met recently with this moving company and we get paid for it. So we got a $100 tip today. And then, by me, I mean me and my cousin. But $100 tip, um, a tip of $100. What the fuck? And the guy's gonna send the rest of whatever he owes us through Zelle for me, Cash Up for my cousin. Um, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this before, but I at this age, or yeah, at this point, I think I understand why my mom disliked being here, and she was telling me about it when I was younger. And it's understandable why they have frustrations with me. I get it. I get it. I get it. And especially from their point of view, because you have someone who constantly goes through this cycle. They leave and then pop up. They don't really contribute to wherever they are, or they contribute for a time and then not for a long time. And then it's like they can't really do anything right because they fuck up a lot. Um, yeah, and then like every once in a while they kind of get like snippy or like have like an annoyed tone. And from their perspective, they're all from perspectives of authority, at least what they perceive as they should have inherent authority. So they don't necessarily like it. But I also kind of make a point of not getting like that 90%, 99% of the time. It just makes things worse, but sometimes it's really, really, really annoying dealing with some of it. My cousin is very, very similar to his dad, where in the specific way that like when he's talking, at least I don't know with me, but when I do something and then he's pissed off about it or whatever, he'll repeat what it is like 3 or 4 times. There was a time where like it was very recent, like a week ago or days ago or whatever. But my uncle came in and went to the restroom, and then I could hear him complaining about how like it smells like mildew, so it's probably the towels or something. I don't know if he assumed the towels or if there was something else in there. It's probably one of the towels. I don't know, but yeah. So I don't know if it was mine. I don't know if it was my little cousin's. I don't know, but but he said it like 4 times in the span of like 30 seconds, but he just said it over. It wasn't like he said, or he complained about it and then said something different and then did it 4 times back and forth. He did it he did it repeatedly 4 times, just in succession, right after another, one after another. He complains about it and then says the complaint in a different way 3 more times, basically. And then and then his son takes after him with that shit. I don't know if it's probably, it's training data, environmental training data, pretty much. Um, but yeah, the difference is that the son has yet to figure out his anger. Pretty much, he doesn't really have like a place to put it, if that makes sense. Yeah, and he also doesn't seem to. He also deflects a lot, like a lot. There's a lot of deflections and a lot of excuses. A lot of excuses. But I also know I can never bring this shit up because I think that's the best part of making these. Eventually, people that I'm addressing in these, eventually they'll see these, whether if it's years from now, whether it's months from now, whether it's decades from now. Eventually they'll hear about them and then they'll see them, or maybe not. Maybe they'll never know. Who knows? Um, but it'll be interesting. I mean, it won't, because I'm not going to see their reactions to it. I'm not going to hear their reactions because I'm not going to care enough to talk to them again. That's how I don't know, it's just kind of how I've always been. I don't really talk to anyone. And it's almost like the selfish kind of way where I don't talk to people unless I need them, pretty much. But a lot of times it's also I just don't talk to people because I don't think about them, not in I don't care about them kind of way, but I literally just they don't come up in my brain at all because I'm not thinking about them. I'm focused on whatever I'm doing, and it's usually trying to fix my life. You know, the past 2 years I spent basically fucking up my life slowly fucking it up more and more. And I got tired of essentially doing the same shit over and over again. The shit that's you're supposed to progress while you do it. You have a job and you're supposed to progress with a job. But if your jobs are all the same, you're just doing the same shit in different ways, specifically referring to fundraising, then you're not really going to progress unless you feed into that system that's not really you. You know it's not where you want to be. But people that either don't care or they want you in their system are going to tell you, well, you should do it anyway. You should do it because it's going to pay off in the long run. You know, oh, you could own your own business. Yeah, in reality, you owning that business is basically spending 6 months to years, six months to who knows how many years, standing outside, talking to people, convincing them to give you money. But you also have to do it in a very corporate friendly way, but also hella manipulation tactics. Um, you do that for who knows how long, and then you owning the business is you convincing other people to do the same thing you did for all that time, knowing you kind of hated it. And also depending on shit that you have no control over, i.e., skin tone, speech pattern, You have to either change yourself fundamentally or pander to people that don't really give a shit. You know you're doing it to manipulate them. They know, or they don't know you're doing it, but they have a perception of why you're doing it. But at the end of the day, neither one of you are being honest about it. You can't tell them why you're doing it, and they can't tell you their actual opinion of the way you're acting and the way you look. And it's worse for people that genuinely do not care. And not in like a negative way where they'll treat people like shit because they don't care, but in like a more neutral way where they don't care about their appearance. They don't care about the way they sound. Granted, they had to deal with that growing up. That's why that's the result of them becoming the person they became. But then the issue is that you have all these people around you telling you how you're supposed to be, and it makes you not want to do anything. But you can't live around people and not do anything. But even if you are doing something, it doesn't have actual results, monetary results, then you're not doing anything in their eyes. At least when I get my license again, I can have money coming in, which 90% of it will just go to my granny. So I'll have like $100 a month that I can use, 20 of which will go to ChatGPT. And then I will just have to wait until people decide to buy the game. Well, in reality, I think I'm just going to make it free and then have all the additional stuff I put out for $1. Figure out how DLC works for Steam, and then just put the other games I have on behind the paywall of $1, basically. You know, because I have 2 so far. And then there's 1, 2. So I have like an Avatar themed chess game, and then I have one that's strictly based on bishops and the princes. So that's 2. And then I have shapes, and then I have prosper. So 4 additional games. While I also have to fix the last 2. And sadly, I'm putting more effort into the standard chess version than the actual mess of chess version I made originally. Because I basically so what I did was I made mess of chess, and then I decided, okay, well, if people don't like this version, they can at least play regular chess. So I added regular chess into it. And that's the one I'm working on now. And all the stuff I'm doing for mess of the regular chess or standard chess, as it's in the menu as it's called in the menu. I'm gonna add all those little special things in the rest of the games too, so that all kind of looks more concise. And then I have to fix the fuck, I forgot what they were called, but like the columns for like the moves and the pawn promotion thing and that stuff. And then also the what's it called? What's it called? The not frame, the window. There we go. Goodness gracious. But yeah, the window. Um, yeah, I think something cool I also want to do is I want to have, um, like I want to eventually transition this 2D version of the game into, I guess in a way I want it to be a game within a game within a game. So basically the black and white menu that you see when you go to quit, it'll zoom out into a 2D or into another 2D um world that's like pixels. That's essentially the 3D one, but it's basically the 3D world, but it's just pixels. It's just pixel people, pretty much, unlike a 2D side scroller thing. Um, yeah. So like it would basically be like the entire map but pixelated. Where you can walk to wherever you're going. Any way that you can find in the 3D place, you can find in the pixel place. Um, it's just all pixels basically. And then you can leave there, and then it takes you out of the frame fully, out of the painting frame, and then out into basically like your mental, like the what is called now is the soul sanctum is like my placeholder name for it, but it's where you'll have your giant library with the books, and then sleeping quarters, and then the training and the training area at the bottom, and then kind of like the lounge, or no, training second floor, sleeping or no, sleeping top floor, library middle floor, or third floor, training for or second floor, and then lounge area first floor. But yeah, it would basically just be this gigantic room, pretty much. Think like a guild hall, pretty much, if that makes sense. And then you'll have all of the 700 plus all the 700 all the 700 plus soul um body types, pretty much. And then because like the first thing I want to do is have it to where you have like the different colors, and then you can section off the body parts with different colors that would result in different effects and immunities. Oh, excuse me. Um, then basically you have plus 700 plus different bodies you can modify it pretty much. It's gonna be like a whole thing basically. There's a character. There will be like a few important characters in there, but everyone else will kind of just be like souls that kind of have no purpose other than for you to just use them and then modify their bodies, and then they exist with that modified body state, basically. And then you can, once we add like um, multiplayer functionality in the market, then you can actually put them up to be sold, basically. You know, but but yeah, yeah. I think it'd be the easiest thing would be that. Then we could have a steady stream of income, or I could have a steady stream of income so we can keep working on it. But yeah, and then it turned out you can make a Kickstarter for something, but it has to actually be an actual product. You can't make a Kickstarter for a game that doesn't exist. So the best part about me doing this is that I can make this, put it out, and then make a Kickstarter. But I don't even think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to um put it in my or I'm gonna just link to my Ko-fi and PayPal. Yeah, yeah. Or I don't know. I mean, I guess a Kickstarter would make more sense, but I don't know. I mean, I only say that just because that's what everyone uses. But if the point is that people can just donate, then you could technically just do it through all of the means, if that makes sense. You know, I'm not gonna do it through Patreon because they take so much of your money. Ko-fi, you lose $1 from $5. It's not that bad. And then PayPal, you don't lose anything if you just wait the days rather than doing it instantly, uh, just like Cash App. Uh, but yeah, yeah. And the most interesting part about this whole thing is that once you have money, it's easier to make more of it, especially online because you can easily. That's what I don't understand about all these people with like millions of dollars that are streaming or they're YouTubers or whatever the fuck. How the fuck are y'all just not making money out the ass? You know? But I get it. There's a lack of ambition, or I mean, I'd say benevolent ambition, because you can have ambition, but it's kind of derived from a more, I guess, negative or apathetic, selfish angle, where you can want money for security and nothing really else, nothing else really, and then you're fine. But for like YouTubers and streamers, you're effectively still slaves because you're slaves to your audience. Rather than if you're a game developer, you're just making things that you enjoy. And ultimately, if it's a good game, it has a good loop, it has, especially if it has emergent gameplay built in, then it's going to last forever. You know? You know what I mean? And there are no like, what's it called? There aren't any decentralized games that, in my opinion, are good. You know? Because you could have like a node, like pretty much how like crypto and like decentralization stuff works, where you can't shut down a game because it's decentralized. It's not really hosted in one singular place. Essentially, everyone's apps connects to each other, and then it stores the data locally. I guess if that makes sense. I can't explain it all that well because I don't. I understand like the gist of it, and I understand the goal of what I would want, but I can't tell you the details because I don't understand enough to be able to tell you it, to be able to explain it to you, you know. But yeah. So like an interesting idea I had was like simply with like the 700 and the 700 plus souls, right? Which are basically just they're varying body types, of like of male, female, and everywhere, any and everywhere in between, and then all the varying sizes as well. Um, which I took inspiration from One Piece because I love it when like Luffy has to go up against like giant people. They're literal giant, and the people that are just huge compared to humans. Like that's fucking awesome to me. And then there's also scenes from Naruto where you have like kids fighting adults, like they look sick as shit, and Dragon Ball when Kid Gohan is fighting or is training with Goku. Like that's fucking awesome. That's cool as shit. You know. Um. Well, those are like the big inspirations. But you'll be able to tell like a lot of inspirations as you or as the as it kind of develops more and more and more, pretty much. Um, but yeah, so I have this idea of like the 700 plus souls. You essentially treat them like Pokemon, and then you give them all unique designs, like following different themes, and then you could essentially have like a role where it's like a cultivator or like a breeder or whatever it is, right? And their entire thing is is they get two they get two beings to mate, and then they manifest a baby, and then you essentially modify that kid to have whatever appearance, whatever pros and cons you want, basically. And then you can put it on a market, and then you sell it, and then it's populated in other people's worlds when they buy them, pretty much. It would effectively be it would pretty much be like it would be another Pokemon knockoff, but it would be much more emergent properties to it because you have a lot more influence. But they'd also have like their own agency after they're born. You know, so like you could essentially just buy one and then just let it roam free, and then it goes and does whatever it wants to live. That could result in it um having more like offspring of it and another creature, with those creatures having mixed properties of both, pretty much having either a ratio of like 25-75 or 50-50 or 75-25. Granted, those last two are kind of similar, but they're from different perspectives. uh unless I said the same thing twice. I don't think I did, but I mean, obviously, you heard it. Duh. But yeah. Yeah. um that was a lot, but that's it. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.